A very good Wednesday morning to everyone out there. Happy hump day. Landon here with you to bring you your latest weather or not forecast courtesy of Ohio Valley Insurance. Going to be a little bit cooler today, folks, but the good news is we got rays of sunshine. It's going to reclaim the skies out there. You can take a look at where we've had a cold front that's passed through here. Secondary cold fronts passed throughout the overnight. We currently have this big old area of high pressure that's going to be trying to build in from the west. Clockwise flow throughout the day behind the cold front results in winds out of the north and west, thus creating those colder temperatures than what we have been experiencing. Now, we're not going to be too far off average today, and it should be quite nice with those winds remaining around the 5 to 10 mile an hour range, but it will be a little bit cooler than what we were dealing with here over the past few days. Let's get a look across the Wobbles community, shall we? Down at Dareville to kick things off, the B.H. James Distillery Skycam. Got the moon bright and shining there with the clouds clearing out early this morning. Scene can be seen overlooking the Beechtree News Skycam off to the north and west from Morgantown. Now, with the clearing skies, we do have colder temperatures to deal with this morning than what we were dealing with this time yesterday, on the cusp of some 15 to 20 degrees colder. We haven't quite slipped down to around the freezing threshold, but we got a few locations just a few degrees above it over here in Logan County. We'll be bumping highs up to right around the mid, perhaps the upper 50s this afternoon, so it's not going to be too shabby. We will be around 5 degrees below average for this time of year. Getting a look here at the latest surface map, as we were just previously looking at, you can see the secondary cold front has pretty much already made its way through here. This area of high pressure is going to be building in from the west and setting up shop. And folks, it's going to be somewhat quiet all the way through the remainder of the work week. Now we are going to be looking at a much more active pattern potentially in the cards as we roll into the early days of next week. So we'll be jumping in and breaking that down for you here in just a moment. Let's jump right into it, shall we? Taking a look here, high pressure building in behind the cold front, no surprise. And then throughout the remainder of the work week, you will note that area of high pressure has shifted down to our south. This is going to be turning our winds out of the south and west here as we work throughout our Thursday into our Friday and Saturday. And friends, this is going to result in a major warm-up here across the region, all right? Although it is going to be quiet with a warmer air arriving and a little bit more humidity, this will be priming up our atmosphere for the possibility of a very busy and active next week. We will be watching for the possibility, you'll see as we work throughout the weekend, this big old upper ridge right here building in. You can see this area of high pressure. Just building in here across the southeast U.S. is going to keep these little disturbances right along and just north of us here throughout the Wobbles region. But with that being said, as we work later into the weekend, you will note as we work into the Sunday time frame, we might have a few lingering cells that are able to blossom and pop up here as we roll into the final day of the weekend. So working throughout our Sunday, we might have just enough parameters available to fire off a few random storms as well. That'll be something for us to keep close eyes on, as you can see here, working into and throughout our Sunday afternoon. Attention is more focused on the Monday into Tuesday time frame, and you're about to see why. This deepening low pressure system is going to jolt off to the east and try to dive down to the south and east through the Ohio Valley. As this does so, late Monday on into our Tuesday, this is how the surface setup is going to appear. We got this monster cold front that's going to be diving down here out of the north and west with this affiliated low pressure system. We're going to have deep moisture churning in here out of the Gulf of Mexico. Now, if enough moisture is available to make it this far north, that could be bringing some instability along with it. Models are hinting at the possibility of the shear and the lift from the cold front all being present, all pointing towards the possibility of this generating some strong to maybe even some severe thunderstorm chances. So with that being said, folks, we're about 5 to 6 days out. We're going to be watching this thing evolve. But right now, presently, with the monster cold front diving in here, this is something that we're going to need to pay close attention to here to see what the latest models come out with here over the upcoming days. Again, take it with a grain of salt. We still get a few days to monitor this and see if these things get ironed out, to have model guidance come into somewhat of an agreement to give us a better idea. So you can see here, working into Monday night, on into our Tuesday, and then we get into our Tuesday night, and then finally the cold front gets down to our south and east, opening up the door to somewhat of a quiet pattern with northwest flow, resulting in another jolt of colder air behind the cold front, which should arrive around roughly a week from today if that storm system is able to develop and come to fruition. All right, something we are monitoring and watching, folks, something we utilize if you watch our videos enough, is the analog guidance, taking past events, comparing them to the current setup and what the models are showcasing that could be in store for us. These contours that you are seeing is pointing towards the likelihood of severe weather. Here we are looking at the Sunday time frame. As previously mentioned, you can see some of those weaker, lower tier contours arriving across the region to where we could get a few robust cells that develop in the Sunday time frame. It is not going to be any widespread sort of threat, but we could have a few strong, robust cells develop. Then, as we progress on into our Monday and Tuesday, you can see those contours becoming a little bit more intense right across the region, sneaking up here out of the south and west, folks. Again, nothing is written in stone, but analog guidance this far out is suggesting the possibility of some of those storms becoming strong to severe late Monday into Tuesday. So that, again, is what we're going to be focused on here in the long-term period. Total rainfall amounts over the next 7 days, the entirety of the next week. This is valid all the way through next Wednesday morning. We're looking at anywhere from a ½ inch of rainfall all the way up to around 1 inch of rainfall. And folks, none of this rain is going to be falling between today and pretty much the entirety of our Saturday. This is going to be arriving here as we finish out the weekend with those few cells popping up, and then increasing in coverage late Monday into Tuesday of next week. You can see that as well looking here at the latest 5-day weather forecast for today. Loads of sunshine. Those northwest winds will create a little bit of a chill in the air, but it should be immaculate out there, folks. If I got enough time this afternoon myself, I'm sneaking out to get 1, maybe 2 rounds of disc golf in. And then we roll into our Thursday. We'll be right back up between the low and mid 60s, right around the 70-degree mark Friday, mid and upper 70s for your Saturday. Spring has sprung, if you will. And then we get those isolated storm chances in here on Sunday. It's still going to be extraordinarily warm, folks, although it's not showing it right now. Forecast guidance is recommending highs on Monday afternoon between the low and mid 80s. Getting a little bit of a taste of summer in here, just a little bit too soon for my flavor. But again, folks, the warm air and the moisture coming up in here is why we have the concern for the possibility of some strong storms as we roll into that time frame as well. Friends, that's going to wrap up your Wednesday morning Whether or Not Bowling Green weather forecast presented by Ohio Valley Insurance. You all take care of yourselves and each other. Have a